So, one team I want to talk about today is one team that literally no one in the NFL is talking about at all, including probably even their own fans, and that is the Carolina Panthers. I know last year was just an atrocious abomination of a season, just completely ugly, devastating and depressing. Specifically, Bryce Young's play and just how he looked in general. I know that's really hard to kind of shake off, but the real question is, can he bounce back? Can he at least look serviceable in his sophomore year? That's the $1 million plus question as of right now. And, if you're a Panthers fan right now, I look at it as the team can only go up from here, especially how last year went. Like, it could technically get worse. You could have an 0-16 year. Shout out to the Lions, but I guess it would be 0-17 now. But honestly, take that aside, there's really nowhere else to go but up. And I think that's a positive thing. I think Panthers fans should be sneaky optimistic for this upcoming year. Again, I'm not saying the Panthers are going to be any good, but if I were a Panthers fan, all I'd be focused on right now is just if this team could just have moments or windows or even quarters or maybe games of just looking good, looking competitive, then I think that's a win. And ultimately, it really starts and ends with Bryce Young. His play has to obviously dramatically improve, and I think it will, and I'll get into why I think that in a second, but there's been a lot of good quarterbacks in the NFL right now who have had notoriously bad rookie years. Jared Goff, Peyton Manning back in the day, Josh Allen. I think Bryce can definitely bounce back. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's really hard to shake off how he looked from the previous year, but he's got a brand new head coach, and he's an offensive-minded guy. Obviously, Frank Reich was too, but I don't know if that guy maybe was just a fraud after all. I don't know, and I'm not saying like the new OC, and I'm not saying the Panthers' new head coach, Dave Canalese, I'm pretty sure how you pronounce his name. I'm not saying he's going to be like this offensive mastermind guru, but, he made Baker Mayfield and the Bucs look pretty competent. I know Baker has had success in the NFL, but he's not like this all-around elite quarterback or anything, so I don't know, like, who's a better quarterback? Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield? Some might say that Bryce has a bit more talent than Baker. I don't know if I'm one of those guys, but the point I'm trying to make here is if he could make it work with Baker, I feel like he could make it work with Bryce. So I feel like a new head coach coming in, Bryce having some new weapons, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen was really productive last year as well. Just to have a legit wide receiver in Deontay Johnson is going to be huge for Bryce because, all he had was Thielen last year, man. Like, go back, that receiving core, that just offense in general, not a lot of pieces to help your number one overall pick. But yeah, man, we'll see how it goes. Again, I'm not saying the Panthers are going to be a playoff team this year at all. I think the goal for the Panthers is just to look competent and for Bryce Young to show some improvement from year one to year two. That's the goal. And not only that, but they play in the weakest division currently in the NFL, so, that's a positive. That's a plus. It's a lot better than being in the AFC North or a division like the NFC North right now. They play in the NFC South. I'd say that's probably the weakest one in the NFL, and you know, you'd love to see some wins, but we'll see what happens. But at the same side of that coin, like, reality is reality, and that could be one of the worst trades, literally the worst trade in NFL history. If Bryce Young looks awful again this year, the one, and I'm talking about the trade where the Panthers gave the Bears their first round pick, which ultimately turned into Caleb Williams. I mean, think about it, bro. Like, if the Panthers still had their first round pick from last year and they had that awful year and they had Bryce Young still and they had the opportunity to draft Caleb Williams, obviously they would draft Caleb Williams and just trade Bryce Young away. They would do that in a heartbeat if they were in that position, but no. They may have made the worst trade in NFL history. Time will tell. Time will tell. I don't know, but but yes, especially with their owner, Temper, he's kind of like a nut job, crazy guy. I'm just saying, if things go off the rails again, like they did a year ago, just blow it all up. I don't even know where to go. I don't even know what you do. Keep Bryce around, I guess, but that would just be really, really, really dark times for that franchise. But like I said, let's remain positive. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen will hopefully help out Bryce Young a lot. I know the Panthers didn't really give him the Caleb Williams treatment, but you kind of got to start somewhere, and they started with getting him a number one wide receiver this past offseason, so you kind of got to take it. Let me know what y'all think. Do you think the Panthers will be improved this year? Do you think Bryce Young will be improved this year? I really hope so. I think he will be improved slightly, but will the Panthers be a great team? Probably not, but I think Bryce Young will be better. He's gotta be. It still will probably be a bottom 5 team, if not most definitely a bottom 10 team. So I'm trying to remain as realistically positive as possible. Kind of tricky, but we'll see what happens. It's definitely an intriguing storyline going into this year, because like I said, if he looks awful again, it is officially the worst trade in NFL history. So I'll leave it at that. Do you guys think Bryce Young will show improvement for this year? You think the Panthers will be a bit better? Let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
The Chargers had an idea of how they wanted to use their running back today, and boy, have they executed. Gordon's gotten touches and done great work in the open field, Phil.
I love what they're doing today in the passing game. The running back, get him out there in the passing game and get him against those linebackers, and they are taking advantage of it. The Chargers coaching staff has done a good job of mixing things up today on first down. The pass catches the defense off guard. They pick up solid yards. Now it's second and short.
All right, following the 2-minute warning, we've got a defense trying to maintain the lead as we head towards halftime. Takes it on the draw. And it's Tulloch in on the tackle. This one.